When my mother looked me dead in the eyes across the Christmas dinner table and said, "You're dead to me," I swear the entire room turned to ice. Her voice didn't crack, mine did. I remember staring at her, holding my fork in midair, wondering how we had reached a point where my own mother could kill me with words in front of my entire family. And the worst part was that she meant it. Tell me honestly, would you have stayed sitting there after hearing something like that? Or would you have walked out like I eventually did? It still hurts to think about how everything started months before that night. Long before the smell of roasted turkey, long before the fake smiles at the dinner table, long before the explosion that shattered whatever was left of my relationship with her. I grew up thinking my mom was this strict but dependable woman who always had the final say in everything. That was her entire identity. The decision maker, the judge, the center of gravity that everyone had to orbit. And for a long time I didn't question it. But when my dad passed away 2 years ago, something in her hardened. She became possessive, controlling, and weirdly obsessed with keeping the family. Exactly the same. As if no one was allowed to grow or move on. Especially me. I'm the oldest, the one who always handled things. The one who became the emotional punching bag when she didn't know how to grieve. When I met Emily, the woman I eventually fell in love with, my mother's reaction was immediate and venomous. She didn't like that I was choosing someone else over the family. Her phrase, not mine. She said Emily was taking me away, changing me, pulling me out of her hands. And the more serious Emily and I got, the worse my mother's resentment became. I tried for months to make them get along. I invited her to lunches, dinners, holidays, but every single time my mom found a way to sabotage it, either with snide comments or outright hostility. Emily was incredibly patient. More patient than I deserved, but even she had limits. Things escalated when I proposed. My mother said she refused to support a marriage built on betrayal. Betrayal? Because I was marrying someone she didn't pick? She started calling family members behind my back, spinning stories about Emily being manipulative, gold-digging, emotionally abusive, none of which was true. I confronted her about it, hoping we could have a mature conversation, but it only turned into another massive fight. She said something that stuck with me. "If you go through with this marriage, just know you're choosing her over me." I told her that wasn't true, but she shook her head like she already knew the ending. Fast forward to Christmas. Emily stayed home because she knew it wouldn't be peaceful. I went alone, hoping the holiday spirit would soften things. My sister hugged me, my cousins greeted me. Everyone seemed okay, until my mother walked in. She kept her distance from me the entire evening, acting like I was some relative she barely tolerated instead of her child. I tried to talk to her twice. Both attempts were shut down with cold one-word answers. I could feel everyone noticing. I could feel the tension building. When dinner was finally served and we all sat down, my mother decided that was the perfect moment to publicly shame me. She lifted her glass, and instead of giving a normal toast, she said, "This year has been hard. Some people in this family have chosen outsiders over their own blood. Some people have turned their backs on me." She looked directly at me. Everyone else froze like statues. I whispered, "Mom, please don't do this." And that's when she said it. "You're dead to me," just like that. Like she was throwing away trash. Like my entire existence offended her. I didn't make a scene. I didn't yell. I didn't cry in front of her. I simply put down my fork, pushed my chair back, and walked out. I heard my sister calling my name, but I just kept walking. I felt strangely calm, like my body had decided that my heart had taken enough damage for one lifetime. I drove home shaking. Emily opened the door, saw my face, and didn't even ask. She just held me. And while she held me, I made the quiet decision that changed everything. I wasn't going back. Not to my mother's house. Not to that toxic cycle. Not to being her emotional hostage anymore. I blocked her number that night. For 2 weeks, I ignored every call from relatives telling me she was hurt, embarrassed, regretting her words, though none of them said she apologized. My mother never apologizes. Instead, she doubles down. And she did exactly that. She started posting cryptic messages on Facebook about children who betray their mothers, which of course made more relatives call me trying to lecture me about respecting my elders. No one asked what she said to me. No one asked what pushed me to finally cut ties. 3 weeks later, my sister visited me. She told me that Mom wasn't angry. She was furious. Not because she missed me. Not because she felt bad. But because I didn't crawl back to her like she expected. She told the whole family that I abandoned her. She conveniently left out the part where she disowned me first. And here's the thing I want to ask you directly. If someone, even your own parent, tells you that you're dead to them, are you still obligated to chase them? To fix things? To sacrifice your own peace to mend a relationship they broke? Before I tell you what happened next, seriously pause and think. What would you have done if your own mother said you were dead to her at Christmas dinner? Because I need to know if I'm crazy for doing what I did. 2 months passed with complete silence between us. During that time, Emily and I focused on our wedding planning. We decided on a small ceremony, nothing fancy. When invitations went out, I made the choice not to send one to my mother. My sister begged me to reconsider. She said, "She's still your mom." But those words didn't hold the same weight anymore. The title doesn't mean anything if the person behind it treats you like disposable property. I told my sister. She made her choice. I'm making mine. She cried but understood. A week before the wedding, my mother showed up at my house, unannounced. She pounded on the door like the police, yelling my name. Emily told me not to answer, but I felt this urge to finally face her, not for reconciliation, but for closure. When I opened the door, she pushed past me into the house. The first thing she said was, "So you're really doing this without me?" No hello, no apology, no acknowledgement of what she said, just accusation. I told her calmly that I didn't invite her because she told me I was dead to her. She scoffed like I was being dramatic. "Oh, you're really going to hold on to that?" she said. "Hold on to that?" As if those weren't the most cutting words a mother could say to her child. She started crying, or pretending to, and said she was just emotional that night, that she didn't mean it. But even in her apology, she blamed me. "You pushed me," she said. "If you weren't so stubborn, none of this would have happened." She wanted me to apologize for the pain she caused. She wanted me to accept responsibility for her outburst. I told her, "Mom, if you want forgiveness, you need to actually apologize." "For real?" She rolled her eyes. She said, "I'm your mother. I don't apologize to my children." That was the moment I felt the last thread snap. I realized she didn't want a relationship. She wanted control. She wanted obedience. She wanted me to live in her shadow forever. I told her she needed to leave. She exploded, screaming that Emily turned me against her, that I was throwing my life away, that I was brainwashed. Emily was standing behind me the entire time, silently holding my hand. My mother called her every name she could think of. I told her if she didn't leave, I would call the police. She looked shocked, like she couldn't believe I would stand up to her. But she left, and I shut the door on her for the last time. She didn't show up at the wedding, thankfully, but she did send long, rage-filled texts to my sister about how she hoped my marriage failed. She even said she hoped I would come crawling back when life destroyed me. But guess what? Life didn't destroy me. Life actually got better. Peaceful, quiet, healthy. A year has passed since that Christmas dinner. My mother still hasn't apologized. I haven't spoken to her since. My sister sometimes updates me, but I keep my distance. And despite what people said, cutting her off didn't break me. It freed me. It taught me that blood isn't a free pass to abuse someone. It taught me that boundaries matter. It taught me that sometimes the hardest people to walk away from are the ones you need to walk away from the most. So that's my story. And if you're wondering whether I regret cutting my mother out after she said I was dead to her, I don't, not even a little. Maybe one day she'll realize what she lost. Maybe she won't. But that's not my burden anymore. If you've ever dealt with a toxic parent, you probably understand the relief of letting go. If you were on my side through this whole mess, hit the like button because it genuinely helps more than you think. Subscribe if you want more stories like this, and tell me in the comments what you would have done if your mom said something like that to you. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you all in the next story.